Hey, hello. How is everyone? If there's anyone out there, do me a favor and let me know if you can hear me or if you can't hear me. If you see me flailing around and talking, but you're not hearing anything, let me know. Vinny, it says you're watching. It says six other people are watching, three on Twitter and three on YouTube. I know there's like a 30-second delay. So, no context here, none whatsoever. I am literally just doing this for audio testing purposes, and I really and sincerely hope that I can be heard right now. I am seeing bounce on all my inputs, so everything should be working. Somebody please say something in the chat, please, if you can hear me. Hey, Dungeon Minister. Okay. All right, so guys, you guys can hear me. That's great. Good evening. Yeah, there's no context to this, guys. There's none whatsoever. I literally like struggled all night last night to get things working, and God bless my daughter for helping me test it. And then I wrote Kevin in today, and he tested it with me, and we got it working. So Sharky 1066, good evening to the UK. No, I took a shower, Dungeon Minister. You can't smell me. All right, so I'm gonna hit the credits button. And I want you guys to tell me if you can hear the credits music. So I'm gonna roll the open credits, and you guys just tell me if you can hear this. A new XP system in the chat room. I don't see that. I don't have anything like that connected. Wonderful Wizard game. I've got like 30 people watching now. I literally expected nobody to show up. Yeah, there's no context to this at all. It's a little. Was the music a little loud, or am I loud? Odd. Because I can take the gain on the music down. I can take the gain on the music down. And if you're listening like on headphones, I've had people be like, you know, like I'll be sitting here like, oh, it's time to roll, and I hit the open credits button, and then I get messages on social media, and they're like, damn it, you just blew out my eardrums. Do something about that. So I can take it down, but to take it down, I've got to open it back up, which means the volume's going to be there. Hey, RPG Grandma. You thought it was loud at first, but it went back down. Yes, everyone is saying that it's loud. Now, I see some names out there, and if you've been here before, and I don't recognize, I apologize. Uh, so I don't know what we're yelling about. I may grab someone and bring you into the chat just to make sure that I can hear you and that the guests can hear you. Is anybody up for a quick appearance? And I don't mean like, oh, we're going to talk about meaningful, relevant stuff. I need to use you as a test harness for the audience. A no content. Yeah, Tracy, right? All right, Gonzalo, I will send you an invite. Hang on a second. Hang on one second. Hang on a second. Let me get this invite over to you, Gonzalo. Um, all right. Where is the thing? I need to do the thing. Hold on. Oh, you're not ugly, Dungeon Minister. You have a face for radio. Invite. That's the button I want. 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 All right, Gonzalo, there's your invite. And so we'll see when he gets in here if I can hear him and if you guys can hear them. Um, oh, not a problem, King. Not a problem. So if you're just tuning in, if you're like, what is it? I feel like I should turn this on. If you're wondering, like, what the hell is Bill doing? Or who is this guy, the Dungeon Delver? What's going on? This is not my normal stream format. This is literally me trying. This is a sanity check in the figurative and literal sense. And I will bring Gonzalo on here and make sure everybody. Mutant Dwarf can hear me. That's good. Because it's really far down there to where the dwarves are. So I'm glad I'm coming in loud and clear. So let's add Gonzalo.
Hey, sir.
Hey.
You are a decent amount louder in StreamYard than you are on YouTube.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of compression that goes on with YouTube. By the way, everybody, this is Gonzalo. And if you don't know who he is Gonzalo Lira's bar tab. And he hectored me in my chat for about a year plus. And then he ran some amazing stuff at the Laugh Block. And so he and I had a long chat, and we've invited him over to play with us on Tuesday nights.
Oh, that's nice of you. Yeah, I had a good time Tuesday.
Well, I'm glad, and I hope you'll stick around. So, Rob says you're coming in loud and clear. So that's really awesome. God, I felt like I had no. Like I was going to hop on, 5 people were going to be here. I was going to do an audio check and then I was going to be out. But now I've got like a guest.
Should talk about food.
I should talk about food. People are saying you're quiet. Now, let me, Rabbit Wrangler and everybody else, let me tell you guys. So, and this actually came up today on Twitter. One of the Twitter folks over there said that my audio with my guests was sounding a little better these days. Unfortunately, short of like going to the houses of everyone I have on and adjusting their audio, it's as good as it's as good as it gets. Thanks to StreamYard. StreamYard doesn't have great audio controls. So Gonzalo, for a guy I invited into the live stream D&D game who could just come on and scream the word farts at the top of his lungs his first night and then cackle and then leave.
Should I go now? Are you done with me, or do you want me to stick?
No. I appreciate it. Hey, Jenny, one of my moots over on X. But anyway, no. So again, thank you not just for this, but thank you for joining us for the Tuesday night group. So
I once again want to shout out to Great Old Ones who runs the Friday night thing that I'm in. I've had a lot of fun, and people could do worse than to have him as a first edition GM for D&D.
Excellent, man. That's great. It's fantastic to find a good DM. It really is. It really is.
It is.
So, I mean, if you don't want to hang out, you can go. If you want to sit here and bullshit with me while I talk about audio and answer questions, you can. It's entirely up to you. I am not putting you on the spot. You are a brave man for running up on stage
I'm
and
of Irish extraction, so running my mouth on topics that I have no understanding of is completely in my wheelhouse. So
yeah, I've got some Irish in me somewhere, so it's kind of the same for me too.
I'm good.
But no, someone asked a question. Rob Turner. So I want to answer this question. OBS drives you nuts. Is StreamYard better? Uh, if you're one person and one microphone and you're never going to have other people on or like do music or drop video or anything like that, yes, StreamYard is better. If you want to do any of the things I just told you about, you're going to need an intermediary piece of software. So I don't know. Do you ever fart around with this stuff, Gonzalo? OBS or anything like that?
What is OBS again?
Open broadcast software. It is a software mixer for video and audio. It has recording capabilities and
I do editing.
hotkey.
I do a lot of AI art. The thing you're looking at in my as my avatar right now is some. You can't see the full thing, but it's some AI art.
Oh,
And I do video editing, and I've played music in my life and stuff like that. But no, I've never really done what you do with live streaming and all that. So no, I'm not familiar with that. But it looks sort of complex. Looks like there's a lot of different products out there, and things can go sideways technologically.
yeah. So first, I want to answer another question that came up. Odd Scimitar, Odd. We have if my co-host Kyle can get consistent with again on Wednesdays, I don't know if you're a Patreon or a member. Now it's Kyle, and I gave Kyle it's Kyle's aircraft on Wednesday nights. So if you want to jump in something, it's not my campaign, but I would be playing in it. Kyle likes to try out new things, sometimes old things. We played a D&D campaign for a little bit. Hit us up on Discord and let him know. This is not me rattling the tin cup in your face. Let him know if you're like $1 Patreon or a $2 member. Honestly, if you just want to play that bad, do Patreon because it's only $1. And he'll fit you in. So I'm sorry, I'm not like grabbing you and trying to shake you down for money. That's just the only open spot I have right now, unless I don't know, unless you'd be interested in Game World on Fridays.
Well, you might want to shake him down a little, because I'm not going to be buying Crom because I already get it because of my membership. So I know you were counting on me buying Crom, but you already gave it to me. I found out. So sorry. So shake him down a little.
Guess who didn't just get bug fixes? No, I do. Thank you for mentioning that, though, Gonzalo, because I do. I actually had to tear it apart and fix a bug the other day. So if you bought Crom, I'm going to go through the list of purchasers. It's small enough that I can just do that and send out a link to a new version, because there's a bug fix out. There was a bug with it was a weird way to trigger it, but it was common enough that I wasn't just like, whatever.
Will you provide a new link?
Yeah.
Okay. To the
Yeah. It'll be an all new download link to a new for a new package. So the current build that everyone has a bug whereby if you give your characters two names, John Smith, you're asked to put in your name, you type John space Smith, and you go through all the stuff. You load your character back into the worksheet view, and you do a purchase. After you do a purchase and hit done in that submenu, done in purchase, are you sure? Yes, it would crash. And it would crash because there was not a namespace sanitization line in there. Basically, it was saying, wait, you want to save this as John and you want to save this as Smith. Okay, well that's an exception, and I'm not going to let that happen. And one of the users caught this, and God bless him, because it is a blink and you'll miss it, because it just crashes back to desktop without an error output. And he screenshotted that. He actually was fast enough on print screen, sent it to me. I tracked it down, and I got it fixed. So it's now not doing that, and I've gone back and tested it. And somebody else pointed out on Twitter that I didn't have pouches. The small pouch and the large pouch for belts were not in inventory, and I'm like, this guy's just yanking me pouches. What is it? Nope, right in there in the book. so I put them in there. So that's fixed. So if you bought Crom or got it because you're a patron, you can you will be receiving the link. What is it somebody wanted to ask you? Alan Canning wanted to ask something.
He asked me why I chose Tall Tales of the Wee Folk for Guac. And is that okay if I talk about that? Or
yes, this is no context,
okay.
Dude.
So I spent the 90s buying up all the first edition and the Judges Guild and any off-brand content generating books that I could, and just Tall Tales is one of those things I bought in the 90s and just sat on a shelf forever. And I was like, I'm never gonna get to run this because none of the people I regularly game with are interested in OSR gaming or first edition or any of that stuff. And then Guac came along and I was like, this might be interesting. People might be interested in this. It's a little bit different. And there's also in case you didn't know, it's called Creature Crucible for Beckme Basic. And there is also a Sea People thing that I might do next year's Guac, which is essentially the same world Mystara, but under the sea surrounding the Isle of Dread.
Oh, that's very cool. That's very cool. And I mean, if you're not completely allergic to AD&D, you could like throw Sahuagin down there.
Well, one of the reasons why I'm playing in your game and also with old ones in his game is to get better at first edition. It's more complex, and I'm treating both of those scenarios as a class. I'm taking a class from you and from Great Old Ones in first edition, and because I'm planning on setting up a campaign setting in the Berghoff area where I sort of wrap my own from first level up content around UK 2 and 3, the Sentinel and the Gauntlet, and fully flesh out that area of Greyhawk.
That's excellent, man. That sounds very, very, very cool. And I wish you all the luck in the world. And that is very flattering that you think of me as that level of professor. I feel like that I'm kind of somewhere between Robin Williams in Dead Poet Society and John Houseman in The Paper Chase.
I would have said you're the David Letterman of gaming, of first edition D&D, but that's just me.
Paul, do we have a little roll a new character music? Sure thing, Dave. It's right, crazy. Exactly. We got, hey, you got to roll a new character. Your character's dead. That's all I got.
With Larry Bud Melman. I would be the Larry Bud Melman.
You'd be the Larry Bud Melman. I hate your game, Dave.
And by the way, my comments do reflect those of the Dungeon Delver.
I honestly, TV kayfabe is one of those things that I either key to it like that, or I'm like, holy shit, did you see that? That was, wow. And people are like, dude, that was obviously a wind up. What are you talking about?
Robert Turner, time for stupid Greyhawk tricks.
Yeah. A suit covered with sovereign glue where I run up to a little trampoline, leap up and stick to the wall.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I was never sure was kayfabe, they sent Bud Melman to Tierra del Fuego, and they were literally gonna put him in a bus.
What is kayfabe? I'm not familiar with that.
Okay, in wrestling. And oddly enough, it has to do with David Letterman. One of the more famous pieces of kayfabe was the Andy Kaufman, Jerry Lawler feud. They were like, Kaufman and Lawler became the best of friends.
Mm-hmm.
He did not actually hate him. They didn't hate each other. Although he did put him in the hospital.
Yeah, he did tune him up with that slap. That was obviously not fake. It's like Stossel getting slapped, cupped on his ear by I can't remember the wrestler's name, but John Stossel got clapped twice by some wrestler he called wrestling fake to his
Yes.
face.
Yes. Back in the early 2000s, I used to work for a guy doing home IT repairs, and there was a gentleman that lived in this neck of the woods, and I went out to his house, and he just the sweetest guy. He was like a B tier wrestler, and he and I talked about it a little bit, and because Windows XP was still tall in the saddle, so it's like getting fucking viruses that would delete. You delete them and then you'd watch the folder like repopulate right there. And he was worried about losing his photos and stuff. So I'm doing data recovery and running malware bytes over his PC and cleaning it off and everything. And that, Dell Dimension, 512 megs of RAM, 1.5 gigahertz Pentium 4, 80 gigabyte 5400 RPM mechanical hard drive. You remember what I'm talking about here?
Sure.
That age. So we're just sitting there. Who's a Richard Simmons of online D&D? Matt Mercer. Anyway, so I'm just sitting there, and we're waiting, and we get to talking about stuff, and so the subject of wrestling, and I said, but it is. And he said it with a smile. He's like, don't say fake. And I said, no, I wasn't going to say fake, but there's a word for it and I can't remember. And it's something fall fabe. And he's like, kayfabe. And so, we started talking about it, and he had met Lawler. And I mean, you sit down and talk to Jerry Lawler, and he would just gush about Andy Kaufman as being like, set the physique aside. The guy was like one of the great wrestling heels of all time.
Oh yeah,
But
and when he's like, "This is toilet paper," he goes down to the South. This is a washcloth. You've never seen this before.
Yeah.
And they were. I mean, I fully believe that if they'd been able to get their hands on him in some of the places, they would have murdered him.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. But on Letterman, of course, he had the feud on Letterman and took the slap and everything. But they did a bit on Letterman where they sent Bud Millman to Tierra del Fuego, and they'd call him up. And he's like, Dave, I just want to come home. I don't want to be here. I hate this. And they're like, oh, come on, Larry, it'll be fine. He's like, no, Dave, I don't want to do this. I told you I didn't want to do that. I never knew. And David Letterman has never let on if Bud Millman was like sincere about anything, if he was that talented an actor or what.
I think he just had I think Dave was good at recognizing comedy in the mundane, and I think that Larry Budd and a lot of the other people he had on were very just sort of, they were unique. They weren't boring, but they were just sort of everyday people in a way. I really think that there was just sort of he saw things in people that other people didn't see.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. Like, he used to have Harvey Picar on from time to time.
Oh yeah, American Splendor.
He would tease Harvey P. He's like, so you make comic books? He's like, yeah, Dave. Yeah, I make comics. So, like, is there a superhero in your comic books? Do they like wear a suit and fight crime? He's like, no, Dave, it's not that kind of comic book. He's like, so would I see Batman show up in one of your comics?
He knew what he was doing.
Yeah, just give the guy just give the guy a lot of shit. But it was probably one of my favorite Letterman bits was he had Brother Theodore on. Now, a lot of you guys might not know who Brother Theodore is, but if you have seen the Rankin Bass The Hobbit, you absolutely know who he is, because Gollum was voiced by Brother Theodore.
He was also the evil neighbor in the Burbs.
Yes, that's right. That's right. He was the evil neighbor in the Burbs. And that gentleman had a rather unique perspective on life because of a very, 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 very tragic childhood. But he could do comedy. But he would come out there, and Letterman would treat him just the same as he would treat any plastic, slick, high-polished Hollywood guy, and ask him the most inane, empty questions just to get a rise out of him. So he's sitting there and he's like, Well, Dave, of course, I've been taking black and white photography classes lately to I feel like I can further my art this way. And he's like,
What
"Have
about
you been yeah, have you been water skiing?" It's just you could see the guy like trembling, trying not to break up laughing.
I mean, peak Letterman for me personally was the Crispin Glover appearance. Uh, that was the peak for me.
Oh, I'm trying. I probably saw it. I almost certainly
He
saw it.
comes on and he's got like bell bottoms on and he's wearing a long wig, like hippie length wig, and he acts like he's like reading reviews. He acts like he has like a psychotic episode or he's like on drugs or something. And
Yeah,
he basically I'm strong. He tells Letterman, I'm strong. I can hurt you. And he stands up and does a karate kick with these like high heel 70s disco shoes that comes within like an inch of connecting with Letterman's face, and then they just fade to black and they come back and he's just gone.
yeah. Yes, yes. I have vague. Yes, I have vague memories of that now. Um, what was of course famous feud with Shirley MacLaine and with Cher.
Frenemies.
Frenemies. Yes.
He helped their career, and he got to make fun of them while they were on the show.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the only guest he was ever legitimately like I'm I may be a little out of my depth here was probably Hunter S. Thompson.
Yeah. Hey,
But come on, anybody would be out of their depth with Hunter S. Thompson.
yes, they would. He knows things you don't know. Alan had another question for me. Is it
Oh,
okay if I answer it?
yeah, no, go do answer.
So he asked, what for me is the appeal of UK 2 and 3, the Sentinel and the Gauntlet? I mean, the, the it's a hinted at area with four um, towns. The largest town is like 2,000 people. They have a map in the Sentinel that shows the vague layout, and it's on Darlene's Greyhawk maps as well online. You can see it, and it's this cut off little country that's surrounded by mountains. There's the pass of Alderweg is one way in or out, and then there's one way leading straight north up into northern Greyhawk from there. But they have this map, and they create so little of it, of these towns. So my interest is they've named these four towns. There's a map of these four towns in this country. Almost none of it has been fleshed out. So it's an existing place that I can fill in with what I think fits and write my own content that will fit in better with it because it's not super fleshed out already, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, see, that is how Greyhawk should be. That is how a good campaign setting should be. I mean, you throw that into respectfully, guys. Look, don't send me hate mail, or do I did downvote the video, leave a nasty comment below. It's all attention. I'm like a Labrador, you yell at me, and I'm just like, oh, it's good attention. Um, but
You like attention, don't you, Bill?
a little bit. But anyway, no, what's its you put that in Forgotten Realms, you put that in Dragonlance, and they're going to publish like 4 source books for each town,
Right.
and have 8 major NPCs and a module series that links them all together. All that stuff's going to be done for you. And if you move one shopkeeper out, some lore hound is going to call you out for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking, I was on the speakeasy yesterday, and I was talking about like the beauty of Greyhawk is like the last time I ran WG S4, I screwed up. I put it like a few hexes over and down. It didn't matter. Literally didn't. It changed nothing about my Greyhawk campaign. It changed absolutely nothing about my Greyhawk campaign.
I'd say the other thing is that they're not nearly as well known as a lot of the other areas. So people don't have like super nostalgia about these two modules in that region of Greyhawk.
Yeah, and there's a lot of advantage to that because you run T1 and T1's a fine module to run, or WG4 or White Plume Mountain, or yeah, any of the big AD&D modules, and it's like everybody knows.
Right.
People are intimately familiar with the Wild Coast, with the Slaver series, with the Temple, with the Giants, and everything else. But you start to get out into others that are still uniquely Greyhawk, but people don't really touch on them. And you, as the DM, have an advantage there because you know they're not that well known.
Well, it's also another thing is that I also considered in talking about this area. I've had it in mind for a long time, but you're running, the Slaver series, which is set in um, the Sea Princes. Trying to remember the exact name of the country, but it's the area of the Sea Princes, and Berghoff is part of that country.
Hmm.
And they're just separated by mountains and the keep of Alderweg, but they are under rule by the Sea Princes. So people are already sort of familiar with that region from what you're doing.
Interesting. See, that's how long it's been since I've taken a look at the UK series there. But this is I'm I'm not sure. Okay, so I just want to make sure because the Wild Coast it's in southern Greyhawk.
Yeah.
Okay, Pomarge, Wild Coast. Then you've got the Saline up
You
here.
want to pull up the map? You want to pull
Yeah,
up?
I do. I do actually. I just want to make sure that I'm on the same
Sure.
sheet of
Yep.
paper with you.
Yep.
But Daniel Rowan, and you answer Alan's question while I do this.
No, I will not publish anything. I don't think I can. It's all Greyhawk, and I don't own any of this. So, I'll run it. It's content, but I don't think I can publish any of that. Though I've never published anything besides music, so I'm not 100% sure what the rules are around that. But I would guess I would not be able to do that.
I can tell you, having done it, if you do it for free, uh, you can put
Oh
whatever.
yeah, absolutely. If I can do it for free and put it out there, absolutely.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I do that? Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, like I have 5 Greyhawk modules out there that are free. So this basically is the area where the Slaver series takes place. The
Ooh.
Draken's Grab, the Pomarge.
Maybe I'm wrong then because
The,
can you zoom out just a little bit?
yeah.
Um, well, I don't think this shows. Can you go to the oh, okay. So no, down there it is down there. So lower left by the Azure Sea, down further down,
Okay.
and
Down here.
keep going down towards the Azure Sea, and
Jarilka Bay.
scroll it up. Yeah. So there's see that little river that empties into the area that's surrounded by on right. You're almost right above it. You're right above the bay to the left there, just to the left. There you go. See, hold of the Sea Princes.
Okay,
I
yeah,
thought
yeah.
that's where the Slaver series happened.
No, it's
Oh, okay. So
yeah,
I'm learning.
we're over
See?
here.
So you see the little area to the left? No, go back. Yeah, to the where
Yeah.
the lake is, to the left of the hold of the Sea Princes. That's surrounded by
The
mountains down
Hool,
there.
the Hool marshes, and then you got the
Yep,
Hool River that
that
ends in
river
the
that goes down. Yeah, right there. That little area surrounded by mountains down there, and that lake is where Berghoff is.
Okay. See, again, that's not one that I knew just off the top of my head. One of the things that I've always wanted to do is, and everybody knows this map, everybody and their brother, you can get this as a blanket. You can actually get a throw made of this map. But let's see, I'm gonna do this real quick. Hang on, because something that I have always wanted to let me see, I gotta find this real quick. Greyhawk. Where is my Greyhawk set? World of Greyhawk. Is it in book 2? And I have a kind of a pokey streaming PC here, so it's not. You'll have to bear with me. I think it's in the
I know
glossography.
some German as well, Daniel. I knew how to get slapped in the mid late '80s in Germany. So I knew how to get slapped. I'll just leave it at that.
All right, let's see. So this, I'm going to add this to stream. Pardon me, this will only take 30 or 40 clicks. Share screen, share screen, share screen, share screen, share screen. Add to stage. Okay. So where we were just looking, and I'm not sure if you can see, is down here where we were just looking for, like, there's Hool Lake. Here's the here's the Pomars,
Yep.
all that stuff. That dotted line represents all we get of the Greyhawk map. Look at all the other places there are to go. Look at all the other stuff you can do.
I didn't
It
even
is
realize that. What are we looking at here? World of Greyhawk?
this is the World of Greyhawk. That this is the PDF, but this is the tantalizing view that you get of the rest of the map. And one day, before I shuffle off this mortal coil, I wanna do some adventures for a group in places like this, because this is what you should be paying more attention to as a DM. Are places like this. Put forests over here. Put cities. Put kingdoms. Um,
Reminds me a little of the MERP map of Middle Earth, where they have fleshed out all these eastern regions on the other side of Mordor. Are you familiar with that map?
yes, I am. Yes, I am. And yeah, I mean, it's like, hey, what was going on southeast of Rune? Well, they had you covered.
It's up to you to do something with the
Yeah.
Blue Wizards. Go have fun.
Yeah, exactly. So one of these days, I'd like to do a little bit of adventuresome stuff down in there,
Who wouldn't be there for that?
right? So I'm gonna shut your question off. I think we've got an answer there. Isn't that still only, yes, Rob? That is still only the northern hemisphere of Greyhawk. I mean, and the thing. So this is the wild thing. If you know, do you lean heavily on weather, Gonzalo?
It depends. I ran a brutal Harn campaign years ago. That just I had my first rage quit using Harn weather rules. And yeah, he got up and I think he expected everyone to leave with him, and they didn't do that. But yes, I like it. It just depends on the group of people I'm running.
Right on. So in that section of map we just looked at, I'll put it back up on the screen real quick. Um, so most of your Greyhawk adventuring that people like to do, of course, the city of Greyhawk is right along here, and so on and etc. This is analogous to Canada in terms of latitude. This is not a warm place. The Greyhawk weather generator, like, to get days that are above like 50 degrees Fahrenheit in the summer, you've got to be south of this line. And even now, I've got a group playing the Giants series, which puts them in here. And yeah, the nights are still in the 40s in this part of the world. Coming from Florida, I don't really think about how far south we are until I look at a globe, and I realize that, like, northern Central Europe is thousands of miles north. It's not even comparable. Florida, I think it's Flagler Beach, Florida, is on the same longitude, or latitude rather, as Casablanca in Morocco. So it's pretty toasty warm down here, and I don't really think about that. I'm like, okay, it's high summer, and your party, you guys are, and then I'll pull up the weather for the day, freezing your asses off because it's 30. you know. So that was kind of one of the things I got to remember, is not everybody gets the
Do you
Florida.
do you mind if I ask you something about Florida?
Go right ahead.
Well, that's potentially on a list of places that I'm thinking about retiring to.
Okay.
And I've just wondered about your thoughts about living in Florida and like the upsides and maybe downsides. If you don't mind commenting, if you do, I totally get it.
It's terrible. I wouldn't rather live anywhere else in the world. Um, if you can put up with flat and hurricanes, then you're fine. And hurricanes, you have weeks of notice, like 2 weeks. Get out of the way. It's not like an earthquake where it's like, yeah, I'm just sitting down to dinner, blah, your house falls on you.
I feel like renting might be a way to go, just because let somebody else repair things after they get destroyed and worry about insurance and stuff.
Right, right. No, I do like Florida. And I kid people. I'm like, oh yes, Florida man, don't come here. We're all crazy. Ha ha, it's too dangerous. We have alligators and swamps. You don't want to come here. Meanwhile, I'm thinking about the natural springs, the rivers, the forests, the quiet little out of the way beaches that aren't mobbed with tourists. Those are the things that make Florida great. Like you go down to the Keys, but you don't go to Key West and you don't go to Taverner Key. You hit one of the small keys in the middle and go to a state park and go snorkeling and so on. Those are the real beautiful things in Florida. Most people they come, they mob Disney. Some of the brighter ones will mob KSC to see space flight things, and then they're gone.
What about humidity?
It's bad. I'm not going to lie to you. The first time, no, actually, it wasn't the first time, but one summer, the wife and I went to Wisconsin, and it was we were sitting by the pool at the Cove, which is a very nice resort in Lake Geneva, and it was probably upper 80s. And it was fine. There is a world of difference between 89 degrees and 3% humidity and 89 degrees and 76% humidity.
That's the other reason why. I mean, we're also considering like New Mexico or Arizona, just places without winter. I know New Mexico has winter, but there are areas in Arizona you can go to that don't really have winter.
Yeah, no, I can absolutely believe it. Let me see something real quick here. So Kyle, you're out there. Can I put you on the spot for a minute and drag you in? You don't mind if we bring Kyle in with you? Do you,
No, I
Gonzalo?
will absolutely move down the couch one.
All right. Daniel went to Orlando in August once. We lost some good men. Yeah, yeah. It's you gotta remember them. Can't voice that. I got you. So then type to us. Then Kyle, type to us. Are you thinking of doing a yes and campaign on Wednesday nights, or is that still percolating? Doc Flamingo, hello. How are you? Good to see you. So Kyle's going to hang out in the green room and eat some pistachios and drink some Hennessy. Which you did you get some, by the way? Did you get some before you hopped in the chat there, Gonzalo? The kids.
Oh, I thought I was supposed to take those bottles with me. I'm supposed to share that. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. Yes, but on Wednesday, I keep saying yes and. It's just I'm a giving person, Kyle. That's why my brain just goes to yes and yes, but on Wednesdays. So that's the new thing. And I think it was, who was it? I'll scroll up because we've got some people keen to get into a game, and I told them your prerogative, Kyle, that they have to be donators to the show. That's Kyle. That's not me. That's Kyle's rule. So I think it was Odd Scimitar that was asking about that, but I could be wrong. So we're actually going to give it a test flight, a live fire drill, if you will, this coming Wednesday, and I'm looking forward to it. And thank you. See, Jorge's read; he knows it's only yes and if you roll a 6.
Jorge dropped from my game. He signed up to come to my game and then bailed at the last minute. So my eyes on you, buddy.
Oh! You got an audience guest conflict tonight.
No, there's no conflict. I'm just giving him shit.
Nah, that's fine. That's fine. Gosh, I don't have anything clever to say. I am going to have to go in and like alter the description and actually give this video a thumbnail because I'm having fun. I literally, there's 124 people watching, and I was like, yeah, nah, I'm going to do. There's going to be like 13 people there, like 8 clicks on Twitter, and 5 people actually watching on YouTube, and I've got uh, like 104 eyes on Twitter and 21 over here on YouTube.
I think Sunday night's a good night to catch people just dithering online.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right.
That's what I was doing. I was dithering. I'm a ditherer from my mother's side.
Dithering. So you were interpolating colors between where your polygons contact.
You know what? I was creating some AI art.
There you go. See, I know the computer stuff. So I want to, speaking of the computer stuff, and Gonzalo, as a guy who does sound, I think you can probably. So here's what happened. So I have this mic. This is an Aston Element, and it's a good mic. It's a very nice mic. It's XLR, and what that means is it needs 48 volts. That's not everything it means, but one of the things it means is it needs 48 volts to power it, which means you can't just plug it into a USB port or into the little 3.5 jack in your PC. So Bo Ganora, who is an awesome dude, fantastic guy, sent me a mixer. He sent me the mic back when I took Christmas vacation. As up to that point, I had kind of sort of gotten everything hooked up. Back around Christmas, for reasons that don't factor in this story, I wound up with a mini workstation. And I don't just mean like a small form factor PC. I mean, it is a workstation class rig. You can throw 64 gigs of RAM at it. You can throw an MXM Quadro, NVIDIA Quadro card in it from HP, but it's like a little bit bigger than a lunchbox. And I said, that is going to be the new streaming PC. It's got more grunt than this Tombstone size Xeon rig that I've got. I can just set it behind the DM screen and everything's going to be hunky-dory. So I proceeded to try and migrate all my audio over to it. And long story short, it didn't work. So I plugged everything back into this PC and nothing worked. Windows was just like, nah. OBS was like, what devices, dude? What are you even talking about? So Graph Paper Architect and Bo Ganora and me, like I literally wanted to spend like the last few days of my Christmas vacation just chilling. And I spent them nearly having a nervous breakdown because I couldn't get my audio working right again. I got my audio working right again with Graph Paper and Bo's patience and assistance. Everything's working again. Fast forward to the guac. I wanted to use a couple of my cameras, and I thought I would use the mic. I thought I would just move stuff over to that PC. I was going to do it smart this time, though. Made sure this PC was shut down so it wouldn't miss anything. Set everything up, played the games, brought everything back, plugged everything in. Stuff was not working again. So I had a week's vacation. I tested it immediately after I plugged everything in. It's not working. I got it back to the point where audience could hear the credits music and audience could hear me and audience could hear the guests and I could hear the guests and the guests could hear me and so on and etc. And everything was working till today's Sunday, till Friday night. Like it just decided, nah, I'm not working again, boss. So yeah, I spent a good chunk of last night and a good chunk of today fighting this goddamn bullshit audio setup, and it's finally working again. I may never turn this computer off. I may get a UPS and try and swap it in line. So everything is
Do you have any kind of piecemeal computer part places? They don't exist as much as they used to, but like local places you can go in and buy motherboards and stuff.
I have enough of that stuff lying around. To be honest, I have spare motherboards, video cards, all the things.
Nice.
So, why do you need some?
No, no. I have decided that I don't have enough time left on this earth to spend time building stuff like
Oh,
computers. They'll just pay someone to do it, and because I'd rather spend the time writing. I just don't have enough time left for that. It
yeah.
was fun when I was younger, but
But dude, absolutely believe me. Everybody's like, oh, it's audio and video stuff easier on a Mac. Awesome. Give me an M2 MacBook, and I will switch my entire operation over to Mac if it's turnkey and just works, because fuck Windows. Somebody's
Alan
gonna have
is
to.
asking me a lot of questions. I may have to start doing some streaming on my channel. I'm getting questions from people.
All right, all right. Well, answer Alan's questions. Alan, the questioning one.
Um, this is a deep one. I think
I know this is bullshit night. Come on, somebody throw me a super for the swear jar, please. But this is a bullshit night. So Alan's in here making us like behave. So answer. I guess answer.
I honestly can't say, because I don't feel like I'm really involved with contemporary TTRPG culture. I'm basically just here with the Delver and with my group of people that I've gamed with for 30 years. So I think I've avoided knowing much about contemporary culture. I don't think I'm a good person to comment on that. Anytime I do game with people I don't know, I'm usually the GM, or it's with other people my age. So I'm not sure that that's really learning about contemporary culture. I hope that helps.
I mean, I can answer that question. Kill the bastards at the table. At the table, obviously.
Kill them all.
Kill the bastards. No, I think Alan knows where I stand on contemporary gamers. Just here, just with a little bit of pressure on the carotid. But hey, yeah, you guys out there, talk to Kyle if you're interested in. I'm going to get it right this time. Yes, but if you're interested in yes, but if you like yes, but and you cannot lie. I'm sorry, that was awful. I'm accumulating enough parts for smelting a pile to recover gold. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have the I don't have the desire to get to get cancer. Well, thank you, Gonzalo's. He's like reaching into a shirt pocket and just handing me a fin there.
It wouldn't let me spell the part after the dash out.
No, it won't. It won't. I have posted I have posted responses in chat that were cheeky and kind of edgy, and StreamYard will be like, no, you're not. We think that's spam. Like someone was talking about kobolds or kobold player characters one night, and I posted a shortened version of Total Kobold Death. It was like, yeah, no, we think that's spam or perhaps harmful content. We're not going to post that. I was like, well,
I do think that as far as gaming culture is concerned, I'm a weird person, but I have a low tolerance for anyone being weirder than me. So
we may have a problem in the future.
I mean, okay, if you sit down in the game store with AD&D or CT, what's CT?
Classic Traveler.
Oh, Classic Traveler. Okay.
That or he means Connecticut. I'm not sure.
Yeah. So, like, what part of the country? I'm assuming up north. You're in the Minnesota area there, Viking Hat.
No, Kyle is in Australia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, he was answering he was answering the question. I probably should have put both pieces up there in order. There's no contemporary gaming culture. It's just people LARPing stupid YouTube, that stupid YouTube where they pretend to be gamers. As a stupid YouTuber, place. I take personal affront at that, but then that follows up, and it's true. I think this is absolutely true. Do you like go out and do events ever, like run games in stores or anything, Gonzalo?
No, no, absolutely not. I
Okay.
was driven out of my local shop. It started to get creepy, and I was just not down for it. And
Oh, story time. Story time. Story time.
me from me, what story from?
Yes, from you.
Well,
You started it.
I mean, it just there's generational differences between people, and I think I've imprinted what I like and what gaming is to me on who that's been imprinted on me, and it's not what young people want. So that's fine. They're free to do their thing how they want to do it, but I'm not gonna do it with them unless they join something I'm running. I'm not trying to do outreach at the local store. Unless there was a hell, maybe I'll open a store someday. Maybe I'll open a gaming shop, and you know I'll do it as a private club. You have to buy a membership to come in, so I can just say no. You're gonna get a haircut. You're gonna do something about those sideburns. Whatever. Like Elaine from Seinfeld. When he
Right.
sponge worthy. People are gonna have to prove themselves to be sponge worthy or game worthy. But yeah, no, I don't ever. I just it's so easy to do it online and connect with people that you have a vibe for that it's just not worth it to me. I wouldn't mind it though. I mean,
Yeah.
if I knew that it was going to be a chill environment where people were there to game and just have fun, I wouldn't be opposed to it.
And that's like, see, that's why you need to become Florida man. You need to
Florida man.
return to monkey. I've got a local shop down here, and generally speaking, if they're not doing an event in the store, if I call them up and I'm like, I'm come, tell them AD&D's coming, and hell's coming with me or something like that. And I rock in with some Dwarven Forge and some AD&D. They are absolutely happy to host me. And I always have good crowds. People really like playing the classic TTRPGs, and it is a ton of fun to do. And as I've said before, nobody has ever showed up at my games and said, 5 minutes in, end of the night, halfway through, whatever, this sucks and I hate old D&D, and left.
Well, you
You
have
know.
a very nice personality, and you're very open, and you try to be inclusive in a real inclusive way, not in a fake we're going to be exactly the opposite of that and exclude people that we disagree with. You
Yeah.
have a very open personality. I have what I have called geriatric profanity disorder, and it's very easy to come on to this and behave myself for one night, or one night a week. I could not do what you do. I would eventually. I'm an extreme free speech advocate. I can control myself when I'm on other people's property, but if I am on my own property, there's going to be a problem eventually. So I just mostly don't do it.
Yeah. No, I get it. And I feel like when I'm in the zone, man, when I'm in the slot, it's like all I want are people who are interested in playing D&D. I
Yeah,
the live stream is, because I you've almost certainly heard this before, and I know a lot of our audience has before, and there's enough people now that I feel comfortable saying this. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon for notifications,
and
please.
like the
But
video.
and like the video. But you know, I just I started this nonsense that I do to help people who were in lockdown wherever they were, because like, okay, it's Friday, we're gonna go to the game store and we're gonna play games. Did you guys hear about that influenza thing that's going around? No, I didn't hear about that. It's Tuesday. The entire mall where I used to go game at is now locked, and
Yeah,
so there were people who that was like the totality of their social lives. That was everything they enjoyed doing, and that got turned off like that. And I had a like one of the webcams that we use for the table up here. I turned that on. I had a blue snowball mic that I don't even remember why I bought now. I think I was going to try and make it go a podcasting something. So I set the blue snowball mic up. I set the the camera up over there at my desk, and I said, "Hey, you're not alone. You're not. I'll sit here and talk. I'll talk to you guys about D&D. I'll talk about comics. I'll talk about whatever." And I would just sit there every afternoon, and I would just kind of babble. And eventually, I moved over to this corner.
Bill, you're why people are here. People are not here because of Dungeons and Dragons. I can go anywhere and get some Dungeons and Dragons shit. People are here for you. In case you didn't know that.
Well, thank you.
No, they are. I mean, like I said, there's now, to be fair, there's a lot of crap D&D stuff out there. Yours is a genuine, heartfelt expression of the hobby, and you're kind, and you try to be kind to people and try to get people involved in a laid back way. What's not to like about that?
Well, and I absolutely appreciate it. I really, I do. And honestly, I mean, I would never turn this into like just everything, nothing kind of open, like what I'm doing here on Sunday night, just bullshitting. We talked for like 30 minutes about David Letterman. I wouldn't just I wouldn't just roll with that every night, but like I've done late night chill streams where I've opened a beer and just literally put my feet up on the table and said, "What do y'all want to talk about tonight?"
I'm drinking right now.
Good. What are you having?
I'm having a pale ale.
Nice.
Yeah.
It is probably just over 82 or 83 out in my office. And I like right now, alcohol would be a bad idea.
What do they drink down there? What kind of beer is popular down there in Florida?
The local beers down here, I mean, if you want to talk about stuff that's actually tolerable and not, Miller, which Miller's fine. It's fine. But
those are thirst quenching. Those crap beers that use rice as a cheap sugar source are thirst quenching and good in the summertime. They're
yes,
a solid product.
A Miller is a fantastic. You've come in off the lawn. It looks beautiful. You're covered in sweat from head to toe. You drink a pitcher of water and then crack a couple of those and celebrate the fruits of your labor. But there is what is it? Their IPAs are really popular out of here for some reason, like Gator IPA. Really? Yeah. I don't get it.
I would think Hefeweizen would be a popular choice down there.
You would think. Now, when like flavored fruit-based craft beers were tall in the saddle back 6, 7, 8 years ago, those sold like gangbusters. It's like that was like the far left end of the beer cooler was just chock full of those woodpecker or woodpecker ciders, Leinenkugel's full spread, Barry Weiss. But I think right now the only Leinenkugel's that I've seen is Summer Shandy, which is fine.
You could get some decent, there'd be some certain lambic style beers that have a little fruit in them or something that would go over pretty well, I would think, in Florida.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. The Lindemans, their lambics. Oh my God, I love those, dude. Those are delicious. That's like when people talk about the dangers of children possibly getting their hands on something that they would think would taste yummy and then get too much of. That is what, there's no alcohol taste to those. There is no alcohol taste to Lindemans, and it's got a pretty good wall up to it too. So yeah, Lindemans is really great.
I actually brewed beer professionally for several years.
Really? Just for yourself, or did you?
No, professionally. I worked at a brewery. I was an assistant brewer at a brewery.
That is fascinating. Well, I'm talking to somebody that knows. So there was a little while before I streamed, before anything. I was a beer snob. I'd go to Total Wine and do that build your own six pack, and I would put reviews online. I don't think you can find any of them anymore, but you know, but I would try them all. I was a big fan of Meridsus, which unfortunately you can't get down here anymore, which breaks my heart. I love a beer that you can stand a fork up in.
Did you have a lot of restaurant brew houses down there pop up?
Yes, ish. The biggest one was now there is one called this now, but it's not the same place. But it was the Orlando Ale House, and they did honey wheat or honey weiss. I can't remember. That was really really good, really crisp.
Did they
Um,
actually do the grains, or were they using extracts? Do you know?
I don't. I'm not knowledgeable enough to say. I
Gotcha.
mean, they said they made it on site. I don't know if that
A lot of
that
those
counts.
places, there were different kinds of places. A lot ones that really took off, then places started to get cheap and use extracts and not actually, have a mash tun and sparge the grain and all that. But the good ones did their own grain, and yeah, it's a there's a lot to it if you're doing it, if you're really brewing from grain. But I get why people would do extracts for the people who just want to go to a pub, and say, "Oh, I've been to a microbrewery." Yeah, that's fine for them. But people like me and you might go in there and be like, "Ugh, what are you guys doing here?"
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, this has more to do with food and vibe than it does with actual booze. But you, anybody makes it down here to Central Florida, we will go. We will hit Fiddler's Green over in Winter Park, fish and chips, pint of Guinness, pint of lager. Just a great place. I love Fiddler's Green. Fiddler's Green is
Only
magnificent.
if we go at the most, at least pint of Guinness in August when it's 95 degrees and 80% humidity.
You park as close as you can to the front of the place, and you dash for the car.
Right?
You dash for the car. Hit the remote start and let that sucker cool off
It's
for a
a
couple of
sandwich in
hours.
every glass.
Yeah, yeah. I do.
Do
I
you know
do
what
enjoy
you
Guinness.
know what an actual lager is? Do you know when you hear people say call things loggers?
I mean, I'm assuming that it's probably not what I think it is. So go ahead and tell me.
A lager refers to a kind of yeast. It's not like most people think. Oh, an ale is a lager. There's ale yeast and lager yeast, and the way they flocculate out of the consume the sugar and the way ale yeast flocculates out. I think I'm trying to remember. I've never used lager yeast, but my understanding is that it stays on the top of the beer, and it gives it a different flavor and all that. We
Hmm,
always used ale yeast, so.
okay. One thing I can say is I really don't like IPAs. I cannot stand that taste. That is so bitter. It's
Well,
so
that comes from the
nasty.
hops.
Yeah. Yeah. A buddy of mine is like, we would go to a local wing place and he's like, yeah, give me the Hopsecutioner. And I'm like,
Well,
I
that's
could,
completely wrong for wings. You don't drink an IPA with wings anyways. I
he,
mean,
he would drink an IPA with wings and sit and do Jaeger shots and everything else. I think just because he was
you have a
looking to drink.
you have a nice
Um,
Belgian wit with some wings, or just a what's the I don't remember, or Budweiser or whatever, something.
Yeah, it's something crispy,
Yeah,
something light, so that's you want something to put out the fire of Dave's 3 a.m. insanity sauce, not like, oh, I want the rich taste of hops. Give me mule piss strained through a sweaty sock, please. That's what I
Are you familiar with dry hopping?
no, not at all.
It's a process that where if you smell a beer or you taste a beer like you're talking about, it's an IPA or it's a pale ale that's heavily hopped like that. That's the flavor you don't like. Sometimes you'll smell like a floral aroma to it. It'll smell much better than it tastes to you. Have you experienced that?
Not really.
Okay,
All I can think of is the bitterness of it.
gotcha. It's just basically you put hops in the boil when you're boiling the sugary water that you get off the extract off the um, out of the mash tun. That's where you normally put hops, but a lot of times to dry hop beer, what you'll do is you'll take hops and put it in a cheesecloth sack in the fermentation tank, and that gives it a sort of floral, pleasant aroma.
Mm, okay. Well, learn something new every day. My my father-in-law actually for the for like 2 years, my father-in-law would make homebrew, and his homemade beer was delicious, and then he just stopped doing it. He just one day we went over and I'm like, "Hey, Don, you got any of the brews?" And he's like, "Nope, haven't done any."
It's hard to brew at home,
Yeah,
very hard. I
yeah,
mean, people would ask me all the time, "Why don't you homebrew?" I'm like, "'Cause I can push a button and get water at 153 degrees exactly for the sparge, and that's it. I just push a button and turn it on, and it flows. Trying to do that at home on an electric stove or even a gas one is crazy hard."
yeah, yeah. So he did it. He made a few batches. It was yummy, and then he never did it again.
Oh,
Uh, but uh, yeah. Oh, Tommy Whammy Limey, good to see you. Welcome, welcome. So, I'm trying to think. You know, I will tell you this, and this is you can laugh and you can call me a girl drink drunk. But I am at the point in my life where if I am going to drink and get hammered, I want it to taste good. I don't mean I want it to taste like something that I've convinced myself tastes good. It's like when people are like, "Bill, do you like? Are you Scotch man? Bill, you Scotch man? How about whiskey?" I'm like, no, no, I hate the taste. You got to get a good one. You got to just get a good one. Get a good one. I'm like, it all tastes like iodine that's been poured through peat moss. Okay,
you obviously like Kids in the Hall.
yes, you know the bit. Girl, drink drunk.
Yes, and I've seen you wearing the Rod Torfelson's Armada T-shirt as well.
Very good, very good. So do you know the Touch Bellini sketch then?
I do, yeah. The winner was from Florida, if I remember correctly.
I inadvertently wound up staying in the same hotel suite that they put Bellini up in.
Oh, nice.
My wife was at a writers convention in the Tampa area because the winner was in either Clearwater or St. Pete. And I mean, when I saw that, I was floored. I was like, wow, the winner was from Florida. How cool is that? Um, but about 15, 16 years ago, we went to a writers convention. I went over there. We stayed in the suite. I didn't think twice about it. 3 or 4 years ago, I was watching kids. YouTube was recommending me Kids in the Hall sketches because I watched one that I thought was funny, and I watched the winner of Touch Bellini, and I about had a stroke because I'm like, holy shit, that is the exact hotel room. Because there's a shot of him like standing in front of the window, in his towel, looking out across the highway from where the hotel is, and I'm like, that is the St. Pete Airport Hilton or whatever it was. Because that building that is in the background when the camera's kind of looking, just sort of oblique angle, he's here and it's looking out the window that way. That building is still there. It's still the same shape and everything. And I was
What
like,
so
no way.
you can't talk about Kids in the Hall without saying who your favorite kid is.
Oh wow, that is a tough one.
I already know, or I wouldn't be. I'm just saying this topic to give you my answer, as you can probably sense. But go ahead and see if you can pick one.
um let's see. I'm gonna say my favorite kid. Um it's, I'm that's a tough call.
It is.
I God, that is so difficult. I guess Dave Foley.
I mean, you can't go wrong. There's no wrong choice with that.
Yeah, yeah.
He a lot of great sketches. I'm trying to remember I loved him as the one when he played the drag office manager, the like one that was in charge of the other women in the office there.
Yes.
he was great as a believable bitchy office person. He was great. I'm a Kevin McDonald guy myself. I just love Kevin McDonald, and he's always my favorite. Although he's not in my favorite sketches, almost or usually are always Bruce sketches, like Sausages and My Pen. Those are like the two best sketches
Yeah.
ever in the show to me.
Yeah.
Or the only exception to that is I love Sherling. Do you remember the Sherling sketch?
Yes.
That might be
Yes.
peak Kids in the Hall.
I uh I like it when they would do gimmick skits. Delvar 7 to control. I've been found out. Blow up the planet. And the alien doctors.
Yes, yes.
Well, do you think maybe our leader, maybe perhaps our leader has has some kind of plan, or maybe our leader is just some kind of weird ass freak?
Right. No, they're all great. The Kevin McDonald just had he was not embarrassed to just completely make himself look awful. Do you remember the sketch where he hits on the cleaning lady, the Hispanic cleaning lady? He's having it like he wakes up and
I
he
know,
has a
but
dream.
oh my god, oh
Right.
my god,
What am I doing? What am
what
I
am I,
doing? I'm
what
not
am I
even
doing?
attracted to her.
Yeah, and then her husband,
Right. Yes.
played
Yeah.
by Bruce
You
McCullough.
bastard. Get away from my wife. Yeah, yeah, that is like one of the
Just so
you fear to watch,
so.
but you cannot look away.
I know it's so many of them are like traffic accidents. It's like,
That's right, and, yeah, such a great show.
you know
Great, great
what?
show.
One of the all time, and it's not just for Kids in the Hall, but it is literally one of the most pure, fun, auxiliary. I could show it to my mom. I could show it to my dad. Was when they sang Do Re Mi.
Yeah, sure.
That was such a beautiful moment. It was just because people were like, one of them's going to explode. A car's going to run into. Nope.
That
Nope.
was that's they basically because usually they're pretty negative. I mean, most of their humor comes from a place of kind of being
It's very
negative.
black comedy.
Yeah, very black comedy. So that is a complete stand. Like they went against type there. Although
Yeah.
that was early in the series. That was this early season 1 episode. I think they kind
Was
of
it? I
yeah.
thought
That
it
was.
was a late one.
I thought it was early. Wasn't that an
I,
early?
I don't know. I do know that there was a brief period when they were actually on CBS here in the US and they hated it. You can see the edge come off. And they did a skit where it was like Tarzan office manager.
I don't remember that one.
It was like Tarzan office manager. And I don't remember if it was subtitles or a voiceover, but they were doing the most mid, like on a scale of 1 to 10, a 5 SNL tier skit about what if Tarzan was an office manager with Scott Thompson as the office manager, and just very predictable 1, 2, 3 fish out of water jokes. And they took the audio down, and I want to say it was Kevin McKinney voicing over and saying, like, this is the kind of comedy that Viacom would have us do.
Huh. I think well, Scott Thompson, he has the best. He does the best, like dumb guy who is in circumstances he can't understand how he got into. Like he's really good at playing a guy who just is slightly dumb and like, why is all this happening to me? Like none of his he's really good at
Yeah.
playing someone who got to a place through their own decisions, but has made no connection between his decisions and where he is. He
Yes.
doesn't understand why this is happening. He's great at that.
Yeah. And his buddy skits.
Yeah. Yep.
But Buddy's Corner. Just
Completely unpolitically correct skits, which I loved.
Yeah. When he comes out, and I honestly don't know if I can say this if YouTube would just burn me down, but when he comes out and he does this, and FAOT
Right.
is
Yes.
there, and he goes through like, why don't people like this word? Is it
Right.
F? No, F is for fun. Everybody wants to have fun. Is it for A? No, it can't be for A because we all like to get an A in school, right?
Yep.
Is it those double G's? No, who doesn't like twins? The Doublemint twins, So is it O? No, it can't be O because O looks like a donut and we all like donuts. I bet it's the T because the T reminds so many people of Christ's pain on the cross. So let's just drop that. Let's just get rid of that. And, they do a little, he pushes down and the T just kind of sinks down. And he's like, so come on, you fagos.
Right.
just had a lot of fun with it, man. Just good stuff. But
Good times.
yeah,
When we had entertainment that I honestly I don't have any TV service, or you're my main entertainment. Honestly, I have no TV service and no streaming, nothing. I have nothing. I have files
weep
and I have
for America.
movies, but you're my primary, like, s- what I tune in for.
That's, well, thank you. I appreciate that. I want one more Kids in the Hall skit. The reason I have a Rod Torfelson's Armada T-shirt is I saw a bit with Bruce McCulloch introducing the Rod Torfelson's Armada thing. And he's like, nobody knows those skits. Nobody ever comes up to me and says, oh my God, you were Kids at the Hall. I love the Rod Torfelson skits. I'm never going to see anybody wearing a Rod Torfelson's Armada t-shirt. I Googled that shit and I was like, boom, somebody sells it. I bought one that night.
Can you name any of their songs?
No, I can't because they didn't have any. I do know. Do you know the denouement of the entire Rod Torfelson's Armada bit?
You're talking about them when they die.
When they die, do you know who the archangel of rock and roll was? It was the Black Crowes, because in the second there were 3 skits. There was the first one, and in the second one they were pissing all over the Black Crowes as part of the skit. And the Black Crowes were in the audience and they were dying. So after they shot all the skits, they came down and they're like, can we please be in a skit? Can we And of course the kids were like, we had no idea you were up there. And they're, no, that's great. It was fantastic. So the front man for the Black Crowes came, and he was the one that informed them, you have to go back to Earth. And they're like, but we get into rock and roll heaven, right? And he's like, no, you guys suck.
But do we make it?
No, you don't. He's just telling us we're not going to make it. So we'll work even harder to make it. Yeah.
I mean, look, I've played any music. I would have happily played Trampoline Girl, the song that they played. I at one point thought about playing that. It's horrible, but it fits in with lo-fi indie music from that time period. I've heard worse bands play live.
It does. Well, so let me bounce the ball back into your square. Vacant Lot. Do you remember the Vacant Lot?
The Vacant Lot sketch?
The Vacant Lot show.
I don't know that.
So if you look up the Vacant Lot on YouTube, you'll find a lot of skits. There are a lot of guys you can see, because it was also Lorne Michaels.
Yeah, and he did Kids in the Hall. He produced Kids in the Hall.
He produced Kids in the Hall, SNL, of course. But the Vacant Lot, you can like their main cast are hey Bob Jester, good to see you. Their main cast would do little bits in Kids in the Hall skits before they got their own thing.
Didn't some of those guys become the State? Or was it the State? I think some of the guys from the State were also, which eventually some of those people became Reno 911, which, by the way, is one of the best. I put Reno 911 right up there with Kids in the Hall, personally, even though it's not a sketch show.
Yeah, I mean, the bit in Reno, the D&D LARP bit in Reno 911 is just peak. It's just peak.
Dead Kennedys, yes.
Yeah.
Uberales, California.
Yes. but
But I didn't know the vacant. Was not aware of that.
yeah, it is worth your time to look. You probably find a fair few number of the skits online. I don't know if it's, well, you don't stream, so
Well, that was a question I was going to ask you. If I actually get my shit together and get, oh, sorry, I said a naughty word. I apologize.
I got you supered $5. I think we
Um,
got a couple of F bombs and a shit covered. So
so I'm wondering if I do get it together and actually get the writing done I want to get done and run this Berghoff thing. How hard is it to do what you do on Tuesday nights with a group of people? What, like, do I have to? What I need to have a professional level rig with mic and everything, or can I get away with how you're hearing me now? Or I don't, So I'm interested in knowing about it because you do it so successfully that if there's people interested, maybe I'll do something like that.
well, first of all, I am extremely distressed that you call this successfully. But
7.14K subscribers would say you're successful, especially doing not catering to any modern dumbness. I'd say that's pretty successful. I don't have, and I've never done anything online that or anyone paid attention to anything. So that's successful in my book.
yeah, so if if you go like all USB,
Hmm.
and you don't want to get fancy and you don't want to have like an intro and an outro credits, you just go live and everybody's plugged in. It's as easy as everybody can get on the internet with a minimum audio,
Yep.
and you can go audio and video if you want. And if that's via USB, if that's via the mic built into your laptop, if that's a headset mic, that plugs into 3.5, the millimeter jack's not the addition of D&D, then it can be that simple. One of the things that I told people, when I used to try and keep morale boosted was all of this that I do, camera, Dwarven Forge, all that stuff, none of that's necessary. If you want a game online and you're shut in because of whatever condition, back then it was human malware, the Kung flu, but whatever it is, all you need is a reliable way to be on the internet. Now, streaming it, that's an extra layer. I would recommend something like StreamYard, or I think Tim Imholt may offer something like, I don't know what's going on. But
Well,
there's
I'm
a
sorry.
few different there's a fair few streaming services you can use. You can do it on Zoom. You can broadcast Zoom.
I think I would use Roll20 because that's what I'm familiar with. But I I'm not really interested in doing video. If I was, I'd have myself on video. I'm using a
Mm,
tower anyways, but I just don't have a camera, and I'm not really that interested in. I don't have a cool setup like you. Like, I have all the books and stuff. Not all of the books you have, but I have a fair amount of. Like, I could set something up like you have, but it's. I have an office that's like it's a software engineer's office. It's got a couple of things with that stuff on it, but it's bland and boring. To me, I would kind of keep it the focus on the game and not want to drag in, since I'm not doing video. I kind of wouldn't want to bring people in who are interested in, oh, I got to be on camera and it's about the game, really.
yeah, yeah.
But
And,
I'm in no way accusing you of that whatsoever. I'm just
your audio is breaking up, Gonzalo. I'm
right.
sorry. Let's try removing you and adding you back. No, no. I mean, mic and webcam, or mic alone and some nifty avatars. Now, as far as using Roll20, you would have to. I mean, I guess you could do a virtual camera and then pipe that and the audio into StreamYard, which I think is probably your best bet. And then you'd pipe StreamYard out to YouTube or to X or to whatever streaming service. So
Thank you. I appreciate that.
you're quite welcome,
These
and
are
I'll help
questions
you
other
when I can.
people want answered, by the way, too, not just me.
That's
I
fine.
feel quite confident that people are like you've influenced people to try to approach this hobby in a way that makes them a little more social and try to do what you're doing if they can, which is a good thing.
Man, I'm just dude, I'm just out on the highway next to the flea market waving a sign. That's it. The Noodle Man fan broke down, so they sent me out here with a sign
You are on the
to
Q
spin.
continuum. Did you ever see that episode of Voyager where they actually go to the continuum?
Maybe I don't really watch a lot of new Star Trek, but clue me in here.
Oh, it's Voyager. It's from it's 90s or early
Yeah,
2000s.
I know. I'm not unfamiliar with.
Oh, gotcha. They go and it's a gas station along like basically a backroads highway, and there's people sitting around this gas station. One guy's playing a pinball machine. There's another young lady. She's dressed in like 20s era clothing, and it's as is with everything with the Q in the series. It's all um, it's all done in a way that they think the premise is well we've put or showing you ourselves in a way that you can interpret, but you can't interpret it because it makes no sense for the Q continuum to just be these people standing around a gas station. Like you can say you're doing it for our benefit, but it's still making everything obtuse
Yeah.
and weird. I feel like I'm out there. You're out there as well. You're out there on the highway. You're a Route 66 stop. That's what the Dungeon Delver is, which is a compliment.
Well, I take it as one. The one thing that I've always eschewed, and I've tried to keep off of though, is like I will take that compliment, but I will say that maybe I haven't worked at this place since 1974, but it's been here from since 1974. It wasn't built in 2003 as a nostalgia trip.
Nope.
Because when people say, "Oh, I get it, AD&D nostalgia," it conjures up images of a 50s theme restaurant where the waiter wears a Fonzie jacket and a million gallons of pomade, and the waitresses all roll around on roller skates, and there's there's a Harley Davidson sitting behind a velvet rope up by the cash register, and the jukebox plays like the same 10 Buddy Holly, Elvis, and Beach Boys, even though they didn't get popular until the 60s, et cetera, stuff. And boomers come and eat $15 ice cream sodas and then go home. That is when you say you're doing this for nostalgia, that's what that conjures up to me.
The nostalgia guys just look at the books and unbox things and say ooh and read a little bit of the rules, and then they go and
Yeah.
then they don't ever actually play the game. You're teaching people how to play first edition
Yeah.
AD&D, and you're doing the work. So
Yeah. And it's like lover or hater. A number of months ago, Ginny D posted up on social media. She was looking in, very obviously posing with a 1E Dungeon Master's Guide saying, starting my reading today. And I liked it. I gave it a like and I responded to it. And I said, this is cool. I hope that you get some good stuff out of it and that you come back and tell us. And of course, she never did. She got out of me what she needed out of me, and everybody else, she got engagement. Of
I don't
course,
know
she
who
didn't.
that is, but I'm going to assume this is somebody who's got a big following but is not super detail oriented into the actual hobby,
Yeah, I mean,
based on what you're saying.
she didn't read the fucking thing. She didn't sit down
Hey, Bob
and
Jester.
say, yeah. Oh, I got a lot of people here. By the way, if you guys are just tuning in, this is I could probably do this. I could probably actually. I haven't turned on anything like the beg crawl, and I'm actually going to leave that off for now because just in the spirit of you know. But let me scroll up in case you guys have asked anything.
Bob Jester was saying he likes Discord. He can drop map pieces as needed in voice channel and chat and use a dice roller.
Yeah, Discord is nice. The only thing that I would say that you have to have, something like this for is if for whatever reason you want that 3D dice overlay. But I roll 20 has a 3D dice overlay, so you would probably be okay with that. Hey Ardu, good to see you. Wheeling Dragon, hello, good to see you, dear. Do we need a swear jar? This is yeah. Thank you, Bob. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Uh,
Testicles. That is all. That's not really. I mean, that's a medical term. That's not really.
that's a medical term. What was it? It all comes back to Letterman. He came out one night and said, "Paul, we got a memo from Standards and Practices. We can now use the word dickweed in reference to the plant."
Is that a real plant?
Yes, there is a plant
What?
called dickweed. At least I think there is. I could be wrong. But you're not sure if Gonzalo saw your ideas. Let me scroll up a little, Thomas. Let's see. He said there are many people who do excellent work by narration only, just their face and the cameras tell their story. It's not D&D content, but it's an idea. Interesting. Very interesting. And
I like.
Yang,
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, Yang points out, you don't need a cool setup. Just start making videos and you'll change the way you'll do things as you go along. Exactly. That's what I did on Facebook. I just parked my ass in front of a webcam and started talking.
I think that you make a very good center of a universe, if that makes sense.
It doesn't. It
there,
doesn't.
there's lots of possibilities for people that are fans of yours to do things and take what they learn from you and try to do things, but it all comes back to you and what you're doing with this show. And you know, I try to. I know I'm not trying to make this an ass kiss session, but I know you kind of are self-deprecating, and that's great. I love self-deprecating humor, but in case you don't hear it enough from people, that's why everybody's here is for you, and they really like the way you approach things. And I couldn't do what you do. I may be able to GM, but I can't do what you do, which is be relatable to a lot of people in a way that's positive and bringing people into the hobby. People would get tired of me pretty quickly, I feel.
Well, I thank you again. I really appreciate it. I don't I it's just something I started. It's like I do get asked about my praxis sometimes, and it's like, oh, how do you do that? And I'm just like, fuck if I know, dude. I just I sat down in front of my camera one day because people were in trouble, and I said, don't give up, and don't give up your games, and don't feel like that it's the end of the world. I mean, maybe we're all a little Heston and Omega Man right now, but for God's sake, don't die a little bit inside because you can't be a pretend elf on graph paper, because I'll tell you how you can. And after I get done telling you that, we'll talk about this cyberpunk book. And I just, I'm just sitting here reading Cyberpunk 2020 rules to people.
Well, you're pointing out my exact point about the point I'm making about how good you are at this, and that is your first thought was to do this to help other people who were having a problem. Whereas when all that was going on, I went into my local game shop and they were being mask, you know, authoritarians as far as I'm concerned, and I rage quit that place and never went back. And my instinct was not, hey, I need to go out and do something for other people to help them do it. My first instinct was burn it all down. I'm not coming back here. Not the
Yeah.
physical location, but you know what I'm saying. So that's just, it's a difference in personality, and what you do is, like I said, I couldn't do it. I can be a GM and I can try to do things, but I can't do what you do. And I don't know many other people who can. There are other people who can GM very well, but there are very few people who can do what you do, in my opinion.
Well, thank you again. I appreciate it. I appreciate everyone who tunes into the show. I just, if I could say there's anything I strive to be for you guys, you, Gonzalo, anybody out there, it is, I strive to be Dr. Johnny Fever. That is my goal. That is my aim. If you guys think I'm as cool as the late Howard Hessman in his Dr. Johnny Fever role, then I've accomplished something.
Which he
I
parlayed into Spinal Tap being the manager of the successful band in Spinal Tap.
yes. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Man, fucking Johnny Fever.
I mean,
He
I've got a
does it.
couple years on you. Said how old did you say how old you were?
Uh,
I'm pretty
yeah.
sure you said, and I'm at least a couple years older than you. So I think we're right in the same culturally, like TV and like entertainment wise. We probably got like 80% crossover in the Venn diagram based on what I've heard you say about music and movies and stuff like that. How about anybody know Johnny Sacco and the Giant Robot?
Yeah, I know it from name, but I didn't watch it when I was a kid. I know it was it's like the it was from Japan originally, but
Oh yeah,
I don't,
yeah.
yeah,
And they
I
dubbed
don't,
it into English, but it had
yeah.
like a 10-year-old kid in the first episode shooting a machine gun at the evil agent. Like he had a machine gun and he was shooting it.
Yeah.
And I had to be my mother like stopped letting me watch it because I got too riled up. This is early 70s, and I was a little kid. So it got me too riled up. So
I was a speed racer guy and much the same.
there you go.
Much the
Racer
same.
X is
Yeah.
yeah.
It was a Racer X secretly speeds, but and there would be times that there would be long enough lapses that when I would come back, I would have forgotten that, and it would shock me to my core
That he was his brother.
that he was his brother. Yes. Um, Eric Sangster, the great quote, as God. See, everybody knows as God is my witness, I thought turkeys could fly, and it's a great quote. But see, I like that inside baseball stuff when it comes to KRP. For me, the best quote was Les running in to do news during a pause in Johnny's show. And he sits down and he says, "This just off the WKRP news wire. Monster lizard ravages East Coast. This lizard, the worst since 1978. And Johnny goes over there and shuts it off. And he's like, "Monster lizard." And he's like, "It was on the newswire. The newswire wouldn't lie." And he turns it back on and starts going on about the monster lizard. And Johnny shuts the mic off again and goes, "Les, the B is out on the teletype. It's Monster Blizzard."
And he had the fake office outline on the
Yes,
floor because he didn't have
the
his
cave.
real office. Hey, I was gonna something else. I just thought about it because I got a pop up about another channel I follow that is nerd related but is not gaming. Anybody here ever play Stratomatic Baseball?
That's the card game, right?
Yeah, they you basically take stats from certain
Yeah.
years of baseball and you roll dice, and it's got a 20-sided dice in it and a
Yes.
couple of six-sided. There's a channel. If you don't mind me talking about this channel, is not he doesn't have a
Not
lot
at
of
all, dude.
followers.
We're BSing. We're hanging out right now.
Spokane Steve SOM. This guy does a full Stratomatic baseball game almost every day with the camera pointed down so you can see the roll in the dice tower, and he fills out a full baseball score sheet from start to finish and plays. Right now he like the last one was St. Louis versus Pittsburgh 1966. He played those two teams playing. It might be a bit dry for people that are into fantasy role playing, but I like the channel. He's kind of he reminds me of you a
Mhm.
lot. He's got 440 subscribers. He's just a good, solid guy who's just doing his thing, not some pre-programmed corporate stuff. So I'm giving him a shout out.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much. You guys check that out. We love our tabletop gaming when it uses a D20.
It
Um,
does.
I actually read an article years and years and years ago. There was a guy who did he played that year's entire every game he played. Now he didn't do them in real time because obviously you can't do them in real time. You have to go back and get the data and then play them out. But he did the entire year of pro baseball, every game, and it took him a few years to do. He started at the beginning of the season, but there's hundreds of games. There's
Sure.
literally hundreds of baseball games every weekend. you know. So he went and he did the whole thing. Chris, good to see you. Welcome, welcome to the nothing stream that has turned into something.
They lost me in the strike in '94. I stopped paying attention to professional baseball. That, as I'm Irish, I hold grudges. They lost me in '94.
So here's my baseball love. My father, we used to go and sit in the cheap seats at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. When I was 2, I almost certainly watched Hank Aaron hit home runs.
Wow.
When one year I was at work and my wife called me and she said, "Hey, I just won on the radio. It was a song trivia thing. I won 2 tickets to a Braves game at Walt Disney because this was their summer training or spring training rather. You should take your dad for his birthday." So we did that, and many years after that, I could do it some years I couldn't, but many years after that, I would get tickets and we would go out there and we would go to Braves spring training games. Me sit down and watch a pro baseball game? No.
Did you ever go to the World and Sid and Marty Krofft?
No, but I have vague recollections of knowing it was there. It was
in Atlanta. It opened in '76 here, according to my AI internet research.
It was in Atlanta, and it was in was it? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It closed after only 6 months, apparently. So
yeah, it was. The thing about it is it got rave reviews. The problem was it was in the middle of downtown.
Yeah.
It's like you had to go downtown and you had to find you had to pay $1.10 to park and then get into the thing and then walk around downtown to get back to your car. If they'd put it out on the fringes out near Six Flags or something like that, they probably would have done gangbusters.
And that's just a whole other rich area of discussion at some point for us older guys talking about old TV and stuff. Sid and Marty Krofft there was a whole Sid and Marty Krofft verse. Lidsville,
Dr. Shrinker.
Yeah.
Electra Woman and Dinah Girl.
Yeah. There was even
I have thoughts about Electric Woman and Dinah Girl, but I mean, as far as the show premise, I wasn't being gross.
It can be 2 things. You can do 2 things at once. You're capable of multitasking.
But yeah, there are so many little. When we moved from Atlanta we moved from Georgia to Alabama when I was very young, but we were still close enough to Atlanta that we could go to Six Flags every now and again. We go to Six Flags over Georgia, and
nice.
Did that a few times. We did one trip to Disney one summer. My dad couldn't go. I really missed that my dad couldn't go with us, but we came down to Disney, and then we moved to Florida a few years later. And I guess starting in the late '80s, like if you live in Central Florida, you know someone who can get you into Disney. That's just how it is. It's just, I want to go to Disney. Just extend your arm out and turn a few degrees and you'll touch somebody who can take you to Disney. But yeah, from like the late '80s until like 2019, I don't think we've been since 2019. We could all go to we could all get into Disney for free, but towards the end it was just for the kids. So
I went to Epcot Center and Disney World a couple times. Unfortunately, that was around the time that video games were first becoming a thing, and they had them there. So I completely ignored the rides and pumped quarters into, Space Invaders, Crazy Climber, that era video game.
Yeah, they have a couple of arcades, I think, still on Disney property. They had a huge one, and apparently they closed it. and sold off all the coin op games. They literally just had an open sale of the coin op games. I don't. I would love to have a coin op machine, but I don't. If I put it in the studio as a prop, it could not be in a place where I could get to it and play it and enjoy it. And if I just put it in the studio, no one would ever know. So,
I had
and
family.
also I don't have $3 or $4 for a coin op machine.
Three,
Not
three,
not a,
three dot here says I had family in Kennesaw, Georgia. Went to South Flags over Atlanta with my cousin. It was awesome. 1978, maybe. Sounds like you
ah
guys tread a lot of some of the same
very similar. Very similar.
territory.
I,
I
I
will go
go
ahead.
ahead. No,
I was gonna change the subject. Go ahead. Talk about what three dot was talking about. If
no.
that's what you're.
I was just going to mention this is actually something that came up when I was doing a video with Tim Imholt. We were talking about Disney a few nights ago, and there were two times in history, two and then a maybe, when you could get tabletop role playing game items at Disney. In the 70s and early 80s, there, what is now called Downtown Disney, is at that time was called Disney Village, and it was much smaller. And the Disney Village toy shop only, you know, there's only so much merch you can get into a small, basically oversized kiosk. It was open on all sides, and you could walk in, and there was a cash register. But I bought a little Lego set there decades before Disney's association with Lego and opening a Lego store. But the Disney Village toy shop did sell basic and expert Dungeons and Dragons.
Did you have to use Disney bucks?
No, not back then. Not back then. But the other TTRPG thing was at Disney Studios, of course, Star Tours. You go on Star Tours. Well, when you'd come out of Star Tours, they would release you right into the gift shop. And this was up into the late 90s, possibly even right around 2000. At the gift shop, in addition to lightsabers and T-shirts, and I have a I can see it, you guys can't, but some of the audience have seen it before. I have a Dawn Post Studios X-Wing fighter pilot helmet. I got that there. And one of the things they also sold was West End Games Star Wars, the RPG. You could buy miniatures, you could buy the books, you could buy the GM screen, you could buy the Star Wars RPG at Disney. And last but not least, Disney sold a figurine painting set that was Snow White, the Wicked Witch, Prince Charming, and the Seven Dwarfs. And it came with a little set of paints and a brush. And the box, the graphics, the typeface, everything on it said this was made by Grenadier. But of course, it had all Disney branding on it. Let me see if I can find that to show everybody what I'm talking about. Let me see.
Boy, you're really bringing back some awful memories for me as a kid, because I was forced. I guess forced is a little too harsh of a word, but I was forced to build World War II era fighter pilot models, fighter plane models as a kid. And it just wasn't my thing. It was just one of those things where your parents are into something and this will be our bonding thing. And I could not stand doing it at the time. I probably should have been into it given what I like now. But at the time I have nightmares about building Messerschmitts and Zeros and
Yikes. Yeah. I loved that shit.
despite the fact that my great uncle was actually he flew what are the planes that the Baba Black Sheep flew? The Corsairs.
He flew
He
Corsairs.
flew a Corsair. Yeah. This is
Wow.
my grandmother's sister's husband.
That is amazing, man. That is incredible.
He's long since passed on. If I had not been such a dumb child, I would have asked him about that and had stories to tell about it, but I could have not cared less at the time.
No, I get it. I get it. Let me see. Can I do that? Okay, I'm gonna bring a few of these pictures in here, and we're gonna share these so you guys will see what I'm talking about, and you'll know that I have not completely lost my mind. But these are Grenadier miniatures sold at Disney.
Orbalair, but yeah, but did your models have massive yaw control? Your rockets, did they have yaw control?
Let me see here. And we'll add that there. So yes, this was the complete Artcraft set. Um, Look at that. That is a freaking Grenadier minis set. It's got the blue foam. The box is the right size. That is what they look like. And you can see there's the $12.50. This, by the way, is on somebody's sales site. It's new in box. You can see the condition it's in, and they want 500 pounds for it. So, but anyway, there you go.
Wow. So did you paint the whole thing?
No, no, I never had this.
Oh, I'm
I
sorry.
I never had this. I I won't lie. If I found one in a junk store, I'd be over the moon. But
I have some early Grenadier figs. I have the wizard. These are lead figs. And I've painted too. It's the wizard that has the curved wooden staff. You know what I'm talking about? His little staff goes up and then just sort of curves over limp at the top, and he's got the
probably.
total Gandalf hat. I have several. There was a Hobbit set. I have several of those where, like, one of my favorite one is a Hobbit hiding in a tree stump. It's got ivy growing on it, and he's got a little small crossbow, and he's getting ready to ambush.
Oh, that's neat. That is very cool. So are you a minis and terrain guy?
I'm not really, not physically. I started buying, I got lazy as with the computer stuff as well, and started buying the plastic D&D figs for stuff when I was still
Yeah,
playing in person. But I have a
yeah,
lot of them. I mean, I think you can tell just for, I have disposable income and I buy things because I'm lazy. And so
yeah.
yeah, I have probably you were I don't know if you remember this or not, but one of the first things I ever saw you talking about was wanting a dragon miniature, which I saw you got one that arrived, but I was
Yes.
on the borderlands of just sending you my dragons that I have that I had bought a long time ago because I'm not using them, but you got one. But I have probably 2 or 300 of those, and I paid like dumb prices for them. I would go into that place, that shop, and they would unpack the boxes and have the plum figs sitting in a glass case, and I paid premium prices for
Oof.
exactly the ones that I wanted. So I don't get any street cred for that, but at least I have good taste.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I've said this time and again. I have the shelf of glory, the shelf of shame. Um, Anymore these days, I am just at the point where I don't like. Nobody cares about orc number 32. Nobody cares about the seventh kobold that you just set out there. He's going to be dead in a second, and you're going to pick the miniature up and you're going to set it. You're going to set it aside. Um, People do care about the evil wizard. They care about how their character looks. And to that end, I am completely over my bigotry against pre-painted D&D miniatures. I can paint better than that. Yeah, I probably can too, but I don't have the time or the patience to paint 75 kobolds, 75 goblins.
Did you know that I'm this might not be true, but I thought that Great Old Ones gaming group, it was being bantered around that uh the TSR house, I don't know if it's Gary's house, but the place where the TSR um museum was up there is for sale.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so that's real.
yeah.
Okay. I mean, that to me, that place, oh, not, no time anymore. Oh, no time anymore. I thought they saying no, it's not for sale anymore. That to me would be a place like that's where you could put finely crafted, hand painted miniatures on display, and people would love to see that. Even more than just the books and stuff. Like, to me, miniatures would be an infinitely more viewable thing than just old books and stuff would be.
Yeah. And like, I think Paul Stormberg has Gary's collection of kit bashed elastilin figures.
Wow.
Like, um, 54 millimeter Indians that Gary would shave down with a pocket knife and put like, a metal rod in their hands to be like a sword and so forth, and say that's an ogre. His do you know why the dragon on the cover of the monster manual looks so wonky?
No.
Because Dave Sutherland was working off of the model that Gary made out of some kind of dinosaur. I can't, Paul told me, and like a cereal box that he cut out the wings for and affixed to it with auto body putty. That's because Gary was like, yeah, no, dragon like this. So that is Gary's dragon figure, and that's why it looks so strange on the cover of a
Matthew is talking in the chat there. And by the way, does it irritate you if I call out chat
I
or
don't. It
okay?
does not bother me.
He says our last live game was about 3 months ago. I don't know if he means live in person or just a game, but Matthew, if you're looking for a game, you could seek out Great Old Ones. Now, I will be honest here; he does charge for the game I'm in, and it's a $10 that I happily pay to be in. That's a great price as far as I can tell. So, I mean, if you're looking for something, I can't recommend Great Old Ones enough.
Regardless, Matt, I hope you find a group again, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, if you go to
again.
Discord's server, Delver's Discord server, there's people talking about games all the time in there.
Yep, there certainly are. In-person game. Well, I mean, hey, keep rolling the dice, dude. Absolutely keep rolling the dice.
They still have, what was that website? Meetup, or what was the?
I mean, there's D&D Meetup. I don't know.
Meetup might work for you.
We are 2 views short. I don't know. It's just over 2 hours of what was supposed to be like literally a tech test. I was like, all right, so, you Gonzalo, get up here and sit down here, and it's turned into.
I told you I could run my mouth.
You can run your mouth.
Yes,
that's awesome. I don't mind that at all. I do not mind that at all. Can I remind you the name? Yes, Gods and Monsters. Gods and Monsters. It's Todd and Anna. They're down there on International Drive. Absolutely, just wonderful people. They've got a geek pub in the back. It's Vault 5421, and it is everything themed. And I'm going to say with a little point of pride, I gave them a couple of posters that are up in the bar. But I adore Todd and Anna. I think they're marvelous people, and it's a marvelous store. And if you're in Orlando and you're thirsty, you want a craft soda, you want a mixed drink, you want to sit down in a cool, relaxing place, or go to a thumping nightclub on a Friday or Saturday night, go to Gods and Monsters, check out the vault, buy some gaming stuff, get yourself some manga, couple of trade paperbacks. You'll leave, your wallet will be a little bit lighter, but you'll be happier, I think. So I'm going to say this. This is going to sound so much like a commercial. Michael says that place looks massive. My friend, you have no idea. They used to be in a mall up the street. There was an investor who bought a dead mall and said, you know what? I'm done with the concept of a mall. This is going to be, it's going to be stores. It's going to be retail space, but it is going to lean heavily into the craft side of things. I don't want another Barnes and Noble and electronics boutique. I want concept stores. I want cool stuff. And they gave them a sweetheart deal on 17,000 square feet.
Oof.
They had enough room to have concerts and internet televised events. They had an art gallery. And they had fantastic stock. The people who worked on getting the off-world bar is what they called their bar in there. The people who worked on getting the off-world working, if you put that on your resume in Florida, you will go places in art and entertainment in Florida. And it was great for about 2 years, and then the place got sold again. And the new property manager fired all of his tenants and turned it back into a shopping mall. So they had to scramble, and they got into a smaller mini mall. And they, so much of the cool stuff that went into Gods and Monsters as it was in the Artagon Mall, is what it was called, has been lost to time. Go to their Insta page, go to their Facebook page, look at their social medias, and bask in the glory of what once was. But it is still a kick-ass little place, and I love going down there.
Have you ever been to Mile High Comics by any chance?
I have heard of it, but I have never been.
Great place in terms of the same kind of vibe. It's a massive place. I don't know if you're a comic book guy or not, but
not so much anymore. I will grab a really good manga if I see it. Like if I see something like I want to recollect all my Battle Angel. I stupidly got rid of my Battle Angel comics. And I occasionally pick things up from time to time. My daughter will buy me like essential comics that I talked about. Like, this made me start reading Marvel comics. This was a pivotal moment. So 2 Christmases ago, she got me X-Men 179, where Kitty Pryde is forced to marry Caliban, because I stood in 7-Eleven. I never wanted to read comics because I thought guys in tights beating each other up was silly. And I saw the cover of X-Men 179, and I was like, here's this beautiful woman standing next to this ghastly man. She's holding a bouquet of roses. It's clear she's being forced to marry him. I didn't know comics could look like this. And I started leafing through it, and I realized what an amazing storyline I was getting into. And that's when I started reading Marvel regularly. And that took me down a whole rabbit hole. And then I stupidly sold off my collection of comics when I was in high school. And that one went with it.
What's your Kingfish comic you ever had?
That one.
Oh, the Kitty Pryde one?
The Kitty Pryde one. And my daughter got a copy for me.
Nice. Well, that counts for a lot. Your daughter got it for you.
I just wanted to say one other thing. She also got me this. This is the Red Sonja Spider-Man crossover, where they fight the Hyborian wizard Kulin Gath. And this actually, this issue here kicked off an entire X-Men story branch that went tons of places.
What's the issue number of that, and what comic is it?
This is Marvel Tales starring Spider-Man and Red Sonja. This is 208. This is the 1987 reprint. This originally came out in 1978.
Who did the cover art of that? Does it say? Was that John Byrne?
Could be. Yes, that is John Byrne. That is
oh,
yes.
Booyah.
Yeah.
I just got done. I have the John Byrne Fantastic Four omnibus. That's 2 massive books split up in 2 massive books that I keep in my crapper, and that's my crapper reading recently. So.
But yeah, that my comic book game is not what it used to be anymore. I'm into art books now. I've talked to the audience about this. I have a lovely shelf full of art books that I just adore. I have 2. Like, if you said, look, you can only save these from a house fire, I would grab my Regis Moulon. He is a French illustrator who works in the same oeuvre as Frazetta did. Regis's books. Now, I bought and paid for these myself. These were not gifts. But I spent a little bit extra, and Regis gave me custom illustrations inside the overleaf. This is how I'm gonna go solo for just a second here, Gonzalo.
Oh yeah.
This is how Regis signed his books. That is Regis's signature. And he does it custom. He asked me, he said, "What do you want, Bill?" And I jokingly said with the first one, I think I was probably drunk at the time. I said, I want a naked witch dancing next to the fire. And so he gave me a naked witch dancing next to fire. And when I bought Heroic, so this is Moulin, when I bought Heroic, he said, you want it signed? And I said, absolutely. He said, what do you want? And I said, a good naked witch dancing next to the fire. So I got this.
Nice.
And that is Regis's signed stuff. But I have over here, I've got Frazetta, Vallejo, Soriyama. I'm sorry, I forget that my mic is very sensitive to direction. I've got Frazetta, Vallejo, Soriyama, Matt Rhodes. Everyone on Twitter, follow Matt Rhodes. Matt Rhodes art on Twitter. He is amazing. His stuff is achingly beautiful.
I'm a big Sal Buscema fan.
That's Sal Buscema is amazing stuff. But yeah, so I've been getting into art books, and I love having these and just leafing through them. Now, a bunch of these I can't show. Soriyama does. I don't even know if I can say the F word. Specific, like the specific appetite levels of cheesecake in his work.
That's good art.
That's good. That's good art. Yes, it is. I've got. I have Intron Depot 1 and 2 by Shiro Masamune, and I will only ever own 1 and 2 because I looked at 3 and I was like, brother, you lost the plot. He went furry, never go furry.
You ever read any Lone Wolf and Cub?
Yes.
Black and white Miller stuff.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of comics I read when a kid that I thought were kind of in the 80s. This was big in the 80s, and you and I are of an age, and we both know about this. But in the 80s, you'd have. I read it because it was cool and edgy, and I thought I went to Duga's Books in Pine Hills, not just the Spitty Racks, mind you, but I went to a bookstore, a comic shop section, and they had a lot of small press books. I didn't buy a little black and white book with a green ink cover called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles because I thought it was dumb. Yes, I passed up on a book that I could now sell for thousands of dollars.
Don't feel bad. We've all been there. I had a copy of Fantastic Four #5 that I sold. I bought it for $100 and I sold it for $400 later that same summer in the 90s. So
I have held in these two hands a wood grain OD&D set that was being sold for $50, and I thought that was a ridiculous price for an old version of a TTRPG that I wasn't playing at that time.
Okay, you win.
I would throw myself at a harvester combine to grab that set to get that memory back and change it. But no. At Duga's Books, I used to see things like Cerebrus, the Aardvark, Flaming Carrot, A Distant Soil from Warp Graphics, things that just flew right over my 13-year-old head as far as adult content.
The Elementals.
Like I'm just looking for something good. X-Men was good. This is in a comic store. This might be good too. And I remember I got a couple of issues of Cerebrus, and I was just like, I don't get it.
I didn't get Cerebrus either personally. I like Flaming Carrot. I like Reed Fleming, World's Toughest Milkman. I'm trying. Hate and 8-Ball. Those came a little later. Those were like late 80s, early 90s. Pete Baggy.
How about this one? How about Max Immortal by Rick Veitch?
I would probably know it if I saw some of the art.
Max Immortal, Brat Pack, and The One. See, here's the thing. When people come at me and they're like, oh man, The Watchmen, it's really where it's at. Okay, The Watchmen is good. Brat Pack and Max Immortal, You want to talk subversive? Brat Pack and Max Immortal might actually get you on a watch list. They are subversive as hell. And I mean, everybody talks about Alan Moore. Everybody talks about the Watchmen. Everybody talks about flipping your expectations for superheroes on their heads. Rick Veitch did it. He did it a couple of years before, and he was absolutely merciless in his takedown. And he did it. He did Brat Pack specifically because DC did a storyline where people they gave like an 800 number. You could call in and vote. Do you want Robin to be killed by Joker? And people overwhelmingly voted for the death of Robin, and he was disgusted by it. And so he wrote Brat Pack, and he was like, you want to know what it would be like for a superhero sidekick? Here, drink this. And he served up shot glasses of poison for people. And it was I get goosebumps thinking about Brat Pack as far as the acid, the absolute venom that he poured out on the comic book industry and readers. That was bold. That was ballsy. That took guts. Even when that came out in 87 or whenever, even teenage me was like, hell yeah, I get this.
You know Daniel Clowes?
Yes.
I'm a big fan of his work.
Yeah.
It's also could be, that's also a lot of that stuff is not stuff you could share on your channel.
Yeah, very, very, very much so.
You're really getting into the weeds on that. We're getting into the weeds now.
Yeah, we are going
talking about.
We are going some strange places now. But this short test of my audio has now run 2 hours and 16 minutes. So I think this is just as good a place as any to wrap up. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate you letting me get on and just blather. It's fun to do.
Thanks. I literally not just brought you here, but I was like, I need some. Fine, come on in. So it was a lot of fun.
I've been daring you to tell me to shut up for 2 hours. I think we can go.
I think we can go. But let me. I will unlock the green room. You please don't take the Hennessy with you. Just pour a couple of glasses and enjoy some peanuts there. But thanks, Gonzalo. I do appreciate it, man. I really do.
No problem.
As for the rest of you maniacs, I will be back tomorrow night. Why? I don't know, because God knows I've said about everything I needed to say for a week's worth of stuff in one night. And I want to thank Gonzalo and I want to thank Bob Jester for the supers. You guys literally helping keep the lights on around here. And you know what? Since we know that the audio works, I think I'm going to go ahead and unleash an owl bear on you guys to wrap up. But in closing, in the spirit of trying to become exactly what I said I wanted to be, Dr. Johnny Fever.
Have you seen my owl bear? Here's to all the weirdos everywhere in the woods and in the air. Have you seen my owl bear? Should I shave off all my hair? Bobs are all around. Some live in tunnels underground. Some are fat, some are rich, some are sleeping in a ditch. Can you ride a crooked horse without a saddle way off course? Naked as a toad all the way to Smoky Joe's. Have you seen the little creep driving fast in his little green Jeep? He smells like fish and brandy, but his rotten teeth look dandy. Take me to the show, I don't care if fast or slow. From action flicks to dancing dicks, just take me to the show.